Ahoy hoy, wrong thinkers. Wait, no, I told Johnny Boy Quick Draw in chat that I'd do the intros differently. So, what up, cunts? I've been watching The Boys on Amazon Prime lately, and Billy Butcher says cunt an awful lot. So this episode here is definitely going to be demonetized now. Anywho, welcome to Token Minority Report on Unsafe Space. I am your minority, Beverly J. Clark. Today is Thursday, June 23rd, 2022, exactly 1 month before my birthday. And joining me this evening is my co-host and everyone's dream come true, Alex Maselli.
Thank you. You know what? I've said cunt before on some of my live streams, and I didn't get demonetized. But I don't know. My channel's pretty small, so maybe they're not like
under the
on the
radar.
lookout for what they can do to me.
Well,
at this
even
point.
if that doesn't get us demonetized, we're going to either play something that's copyright, we're going to say something wrong, because I think every episode, or lately, the last however many streams, this has either been limited ad revenue or just completely demonetized. So
yeah. Well, and the whole reason why Billy Butcher uses the word so often is because he's from Australia. Like that was the thing, is that I have a friend from England and he uses that word all the time.
That's how I know more. Yeah, the UK, or at least England, like they throw around naughty words very easily.
So and that's one of the things, like I know a lot of women still are like, oh my god, that word, and I'm like, just chill, it's just a word, it's not gonna hurt you.
It's like my favorite bad word too.
I know. I think it's funny to me that that's the word that everyone's all like, that's the one that we're gonna say is so bad, and I'm like, speaking of which, I don't know if you've ever read it, but the Canterbury Tales, there's this one tale in it called the Miller Story, I think is what it was, and I had to read part of it out loud, and it's in Middle English, and at one point he says he grabbed her by the quant, and it's spelled Quuaint, and I read that out loud in class I was in college, and I go, oh, that is what that sounds like. Like, I just stopped reading to say it because I realized, oh, he really did just grab her by the crotch.
That was what it's supposed to.
Yeah, that's what he said. Okay. Like when you read it out loud, all of a sudden it becomes clear.
Wow. Yeah, I don't remember. I think maybe it was in high school, at least parts of it. I do not remember that particular.
Yeah, that one's particularly raunchy, because at one point, like, someone kisses her brown eye, and I think people can figure out what the hell that means.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, when my cat, in a literal sense, when my cat was younger, he used to try to lick my eyeballs when I went to sleep. So
that's so disturbing.
Really glad he's
scratchy.
Yeah. And I think usually they were trying to I was closing my eyes, but yeah, he'd go for it. So, pretty sure he'd, I mean, yeah, obviously cats would eat you and stuff when you're.
Yeah, they would. But so would dogs. Honestly, they say that dogs wouldn't, but I've heard plenty of stories of dogs eating their owners alive. So
it's because they love them so much. So alive? Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, alive. Any animal, if it's starving enough, it won't matter anymore.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess if why was the animal starving, I would blame the owner most likely, and so then maybe they deserve to be eaten.
That guy, that one I heard about, he did not deserve to get eaten. He was in a trailer, and his girlfriend hit him in the head and knocked him out, and then left the trailer.
Oh, no.
And he was missing for like a week. And she also left his 2 Rottweilers in there and didn't come back. And this guy was so injured he couldn't get up. So, and like enough time went by that the dogs got hungry, and they started eating him.
God.
And he was still alive when they found him, by the way.
I like that we're starting off this episode horrifically.
Yeah, I know. Such great information. We said cunt.
Yeah.
Eating human beings alive.
And Johnny Boy Quickdraw says, but dogs would feel bad about it, unlike cats. Yeah, like I don't think my cats have ever felt guilty about anything, but my dog growing up, I remember we came home after a long day, like she was stuck inside all day, whatever was going on, and we came home and she felt so guilty about something and found out she pooped but in the bathroom by the toilet, and she felt so bad about it, and then she like looked all sad and was like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, like you did what you could. I mean, like you tried. Like we understand that you had to go, and you really attempted to like do it where humans
Yeah.
so
I guess I
it
saw one
wasn't.
where a dog like literally grabbed toilet paper to cover up their mess. They're like while the owners were gone. It was like
Aw.
really cute. Like the dog knows that the toilet paper, it was a puppy, is used to clean up those kinds of messes. I thought that was adorable.
Aw, that's so cute. Dario seems to be excited about
Yeah, immoral.
oh,
Diablo
moral, yeah.
immoral. Because it is immoral.
I think Zato might have been saying "gah" to the topic of dogs eating a guy
Yeah, I think
alive.
so. It's pretty disturbing. And I know I was
My word.
laughing and
Yeah.
I am
Just-
kind of laughing at other people's reaction to me telling that story.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what's making me laugh, not the story itself. When I heard the story, I had similar reactions where I was like I was so disturbed when I heard that story, especially when I found out he was still alive. I was like, oh, that poor bastard. Like I felt bad for him. Like it was terrible.
My friend Wednesday and we talked before about how like if we were trapped in a cabin during like an avalanche or something, like whatever that we're what we do about like eating each other or not though. And I said like we'd go through the rations of whatever we could first before like I would decide to eat her, but she had always said that she would just eat me immediately because she didn't want, if we wasted away first, then like it wouldn't be enough to eat, so she would just have to eat me while there was still meat on the bone.
Oh God. There's a really disturbing Stephen King story where a guy is on an island and he has no food, and he's also a surgeon, and he starts at his feet. There's like it's one of those. It's like a shoal. It's not an island really, because an island has vegetation, but it's like a shoal. So he has nothing to eat at all. So he starts with his feet, and he moves and he knows that once he gets to his hands, he's essentially done because he won't be able to cut anymore. And it ends at something like finger looking good, looking good. It's like really fucking disturbing, and you're like, okay, Stephen King, what is with you and your nightmares? Like,
yeah.
I mean, to some extent, I get it, because like when I'm out and about and I hear something, my brain might go in a really disturbing, weird direction, and I go, this would make a good story. So from that perspective, I get it. But it's like sometimes you're like, Jesus, man, maybe not that far.
Yeah. Too much. Okay, well, along the lines of talking about, let's segue. Let's
segue.
I guess we should do housekeeping stuff too. What is it? This is Thursday. There isn't anything tomorrow. Narrative dissonance is on Monday. I've heard that we're going to have Elle. I think she's coming back. Yeah. And I think it's TBD who the other person is. If anyone has suggestions on who would partner up with Elle, let us know. Partner up well with her. What other things do we have?
We don't have a 451 on Tuesday.
We should have Rebel Civics, but and Dangerous Thoughts on Wednesday.
Yep. And then we're back around to Token Minority Report.
And the week has passed. Yes. So I don't think there's anything like outstanding that we need to go over right now.
Our book club pick for this time is Fossil Future by Alex Epstein. We don't have a date on that yet.
We don't. And we almost didn't have the book either because Carter forgot that he had chosen that one.
Yeah, he did. And I had already started it in the middle of him having that conversation. I was like, I'm on chapter 2, man. Don't change things on me. I have it all planned out now. And because I literally plan out my reading. So I'm like, no. We're on this
nerd.
Yeah.
But that's I know that's hilarious. So I like you saying that, like, we're doing this book here, because he's like, I was thinking about doing this other one. I'm like, no, we're doing this one.
We announced it. You said it weeks ago. We're doing it. We had a whole conversation. I know my memory's really good though, and
his is terrible. So yeah, so you guys can help. You can balance out there.
Yeah.
This is something that I've always been I don't think I've ever even said this on the show, but please like, share, and subscribe to Unsafe Space. Actually, I care less about the liking and subscribing. I think sharing helps more. And the thing that helps the most is your money. So I'd actually really prefer that you guys give us money. And which I was saying the other day too, how since the majority of it, or Unsafe Space money, a lot of it goes to paying me. And right now, the majority of my money is going to helping a duck be able to walk. Wait, I have a picture. I can share this picture of him. So
poor baby.
if you guys donate or like super chat or anything, you could know that it's going to be, oh, how do I do this?
Pretty much for
helping this little guy or girl, we don't know. So right now it has like stints, like the casts are like pulling to try and keep his legs from crossing over. So like it's hard to see, but there's just like a lot of bandages wrapped around in the back of the legs back here. But to help try and see if like he has to be in there for like 10 to 14 days and can't even go in water. So to see if like maybe it can help straighten out. They can't do surgery. So I'm trying to see about like other things. I found they actually make here, let me see. I had the tab up, I think. Yeah. Exit out of this. Hurry up. And have to reopen. They make wheelchairs for chickens and ducks and things. So I found that. So maybe we can at least make our own or something. That they will not work that well, I don't think, on like grassy, hilly places.
Really showing it all on flat man-made surfaces here, unfortunately.
But maybe something if I do like hardy what's a firestone, is that a thing still?
Or what are the kind of stuff that they would put on like dirt bikes or scooters, maybe, I don't know, like something, or like those remote control cars, like the kind of tires they put on those.
A duck Segway might work, says Aja. Something. So we'll see. Like so I have to, right now it's harder with the stints though, but like I would sit and like hold his feet down to help him stand up. And he gets so excited too, though, like when he's able to actually stand up, and he's a runner duck. So he stretches like really tall and says, I'm doing it. So yes, so your money, a lot of it goes to helping a duck be able to walk.
Yeah, poor baby.
Okay, well, I'm exhausted. Is the show over yet?
No, we just got started.
Okay, what's the first thing we're gonna? Oh, Jurassic World Dominion. I think was like the number one.
The first thing with the joke that I made.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that meme was great.
I tend to like write down thoughts, and I usually put them on Twitter as I watch new content. So I like had this big long thread as I watched Fallen Kingdom for the first time on Sunday, and then Dominion on Monday, and I was like, my God, this like, first of all, Fallen Kingdom is so incredibly bad. I could not believe it. I was like, I feel dumber for having watched this movie. Like, it's so stupid, and it's like the pacing is just blindingly fast because they're like, we gotta get to Dominion, we gotta set it up for Dominion. And I got to Dominion and I was like, I don't know that you needed to go that fast to get to this movie, because this movie's not that good either. Like, it's not as bad as Fallen Kingdom, but it's still not good.
Because the second one, you're saying that like it was set up for like, oh, the dinosaurs are going to just be all over the world now, and they spread out because they got them off the island, and then they escaped and are just everywhere. So that was the end of the second Jurassic World. And then the third one, and I was wondering like, where are they going to go? I mean, like, it is an interesting concept. So Dominion starts off in I guess I'll say, I think it's at the end of the second one, where it has like a post-credit scene or something, and it's just of like a big city, maybe it was New York or something, where it had pterodactyls on a nest up at the top of like a tall building. And my thought was just like, man, all of these cities are gonna have so much poop just everywhere. Like, they're gonna have giant things of poop falling down onto all the cars, onto people. Like it will, and even the dinosaurs that are in there too. Like there's going to be so much all throughout these cities because I'm used to it here. Though I'm like, oh yeah, all these animals poop a lot, and I can't imagine what
Yeah.
dinosaur fecal matter will be like in the city.
God, that sounds gross. Well, and then also, as I was watching Fallen Kingdom, especially the beginning of it, I was like, after Jurassic World, the first movie, I cannot believe that countries of the world didn't mostly unite in saying, let's nuke that island. Like, you know, like I can't picture them not doing so. Yeah, but this is the meme that I came up with because I was getting to the climax and I realized that Blue was the hero of the first two Jurassic World movies, but she's not on the adventure with them in Dominion. She stayed home. And so that's what I was like, well, what's different? Well, she had a baby. So maybe that's why. And so
even go ahead. Out of every, like, I mean, there's a lot to be annoyed about with the movie, but like the part about Blue was like the thing that annoyed me the most, I'd say, because, and I think my boyfriend was saying how that maybe they're like, it seems unrealistic that like this dinosaur would be so friendly to, you know, like you're like a, you know, the Pokemon partner to what's his name, Chris Pratt's character. Owen.
Yeah.
And but I was like, and I don't know if that's true or not. I think he was just kind of hypothesizing, but I was like, if that's the case, like you already established that Blue is a really intelligent raptor, like just for her species too, like they showed it, and she had a lot more like empathy and stuff too, like she was able to befriend Owen, and so they already established them like, okay, I believe this, like you've set up this world and I can accept that. And so then in the third movie, like even in the first two movies, everyone's like, oh no, she's gonna attack, and Owen would always say like no, she's not gonna hurt us. And then in the beginning of the third one, the adopted daughter Maisie is like, oh, she's not gonna hurt us, right? And Owen's just like oh, of course she's gonna hurt us. wait, like I thought you guys are like best friends, like why? And they can't use the excuse that she's feral, because from the first to second movie, it was 3 years apart. And so then the second to third movie, it was 4 years apart. So it's like, well, is it just that one extra year? Now she's completely feral and doesn't remember anything, but even like in 3 years,
been, like living by them this whole year.
This
whole time, like it doesn't make any sense. Well, that's the problem, is that there's no continuity of the characters or the rules between these movies in Jurassic World. Like, for example, Claire is this like money grubbing control freak in the first movie, and like, okay, she relaxes her control freak quality and everything. But then in the second movie, she's like super obsessed with like saving the dinosaurs all of a sudden.
I forgot what she was like in the first movie, I guess then. Okay, yeah.
I watched all three like in a row. And then also like Owen is all like, these are animals, they matter, they, you know, they have lives, they have emotions, you know, in the first movie. And then at the beginning of the second movie, she's like, oh, they're gonna die if we don't do anything. And he's like, so what? Maybe whatever. They should die.
That's true. Okay, yeah, it's been years since I think I saw the first one in theaters, and that's the last time I saw it. So I forgot that I guess they did just like flip that, and then he changes his mind. He's like, no, I am gonna go. Like, well, you're kind of a dick then for like being, well, I know Blue's probably alive there somewhere, but I haven't cared to think or check on her at all. So, and
I know this animal that he raised by hand.
Yeah.
Like, you sound like such a douchebag. Like, they don't make these likable characters
that like helped, you know, save your life and everything, you know, that's fought for you and wanted to protect you, and like, and I guess because they showed that like he cares though, so like, yeah, maybe he's not as emotionally vested in animals like I am to the ones that will not protect me the way Blue would. But it's just like, yeah, that's just, I don't know, that does seem sort of, I guess, out of the character from in the first films.
Yeah, well, and so then they kind of just like push that, they like, Owen and Claire are whatever the writer wants them to be in any particular scene, essentially. And it's really like frustrating because throughout all three movies, that means they have no continuity, which is why no one ever remembers Claire and Owen's names. Like, like everyone makes jokes about it. What are their names? I don't know. Like, I had to look it up on the internet. Like,
Yeah.
because no one gives a shit about these.
But everyone remembers
people.
Blue, and,
Yes,
and she's not even really in the third.
I know everyone remembers Blue and loves her. I love the fact that they keep saying that the Tyrannosaurus Rex throughout all 6 movies is the same Tyrannosaurus Rex, that it's Rexy from the first movie. And I'm like, how many times has that animal gotten severely injured with gaping wounds that no one treated and then doesn't die from infection or from smaller predators?
But I thought there was only ever one, though. So I'm willing to believe because like she's just it's the trademark thing. They even in the third, I'll give them that it was fun, like when she walks back behind the circle. So it's just like, oh yeah, you get the logo.
I know the promo shot.
Yeah, but I like to believe, because I was scared too when they fought though. I'm like, they're not gonna kill her off. Like, they can't, just because this is like the last movie. Like, there's no way. Like, she's iconic. You can't do that.
I wasn't like, by the time of the, well, you see, that's the thing, is that in the first movie there was that death of the British lady, the assistant, that is just like over the top. Like, she gets picked up by a pterodactyl and tossed around between
in the first
several
Jurassic World or Jurassic
Park? First
Park?
Jurassic World, and she gets tossed around by a bunch of pterodactyls and then dropped in the water with the Mosasaurus, and then picked up by a pterodactyl again, and then the Mosasaurus comes out and eats her, and everyone was like, why was that so horrible? Like, why did you, like, that was so long and so intense, and there was no reason for it. What did she do to deserve that? And then, so then, like, in the second movie, Trevorrow, the director, he said, every death in this movie is deserved. Every bad guy dies, and no good guy dies, is essentially what he said. And I'm like, okay, then I have no worry about any of the characters, including the dinosaurs. And then, because he also doesn't consider the dinosaurs bad guys unless they're like one of the genetically modified ones. And then in the third movie, I was like, you're gonna do that again, aren't you? No one's gonna die that matters. So like, so by the end, I was basically like, this could be a comedy and it would essentially have the same effect. I have no sense of worry for most of the characters, including the beloved dinosaurs.
I didn't know. Okay, I didn't realize that he had said that. Oh, I mean, like, he killed off most of the dinosaurs though in the second one. Actually, because I'm an emotional person, when they were leaving the island and whatever, I don't know what kind of long neck dinosaur it was.
Is like a brontosaurus. And by the way, that's the one that sneezes on the kids in the first movie. That's what they said. They literally said that is the original
oh my gosh.
I know.
Well, that's even more
heartbreaking. The island after that, like no one of like value or sentimental quality to the audience, like including into the next movie, none of those characters die, like, or in ever any danger of dying. That's the last actual like sad death in the entire franchise.
Okay. And so when the ship was pulling away, and then you watch the dinosaur, and like as the lava and everything, the smoke was surrounding it, like I was crying. Like I was very emotional doing that. That made me so sad. I'm getting choked up thinking about it right now. But so did he consider the grandfather, whatever? Like, I thought was he supposed to be a bad guy though? Maisie's grandfather?
Like, yeah, James Cromwell. Like, that character was like so up in the air. Like, I felt like they were like, is it gonna be a bad guy?
Yeah.
Or is it gonna be a good guy? Like, his behavior was like it was not easy to like code from a like regular viewer's perspective. Like, you weren't sure until he died. And I remember I laughed out loud at that scene, and I feel really bad about that because it's like this is what I mean by being a comedy, is that like the pacing was so blindingly fast that it's like, oh, he killed him. Okay, like,
yeah, I'm like, oh, all right.
like high action
over.
scene. Like it's so fast. That scene is like as soon as you know he's gonna kill him, it's over in like 2 seconds.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. You're like, okay, moving on. You get the gist.
you know what's going on. He killed him. Let's move on. Like we got dinosaur stuff to do. Like it's like, oh my god.
But I guess if the director was saying that like no good guys die in it though, so that means like, well, he came across as like, hey, I want to rescue them and put them in.
I think I know why. Trevorrow like kind of said that like the people who built this stuff, not Henry though, not the scientists, but the guys who funded it and everything. They were, and also by the way, in Fallen Kingdom, he cloned his daughter. Now they retcon that in the next movie, but in
what did they retcon? Oh, right. She did like give.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is that they did not write Fallen Kingdom to say that that with the plan that in Dominion they were going to say that the daughter cloned herself. They wrote it as James Cromwell cloned his daughter. That's what they wrote it as. That was literally what it was supposed to be. So that was probably where he's like, that's a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Yeah. That kind of makes sense. I mean, I don't really know if I consider that bad. I guess it depends on like what you say. That is it moral or not to do? Like he loved his daughter and he wanted
area morally. Like, is it okay? I don't know. We don't have that technology.
Yeah. I mean, I just on just my gut feeling currently though, I would say like I don't think it's. I mean, it depends on like. She seemed to be like healthy and fine though too, so I don't think I consider that immoral to do that, I guess, but it depends on like the situation.
I did think it was a little morally questionable because of the fact that she had to then keep this incredibly secretive life, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's I mean,
very isolated living situation there.
And maybe if they were just better at lying about it though too, that like, yeah, her mother actually did give birth or like something like that, you didn't realize it or yeah, however you want to be able to like fake it, and she can live a normal life. Like, wow, she looks uncannily like her mother. Like, yep, genetics, and then you just move on. Like, I think that they didn't have to do it, but it's the same. Yeah, I don't think they had to hide her until like the third one, like where like once they revealed it all, like if they were just better at being able to lie.
Yeah.
But then I guess you could say if that's immoral or not, but then you're protecting her, so that's not immoral.
That's less immoral. Like that's more protecting someone from the world or whatever. But like the whole like retcon of the clone situation was just fucking weird. Like I was like, you literally retconned within your own franchise. That like within 3 movies, like between movie 2 and movie 3, you decided to change your mind. Like I thought that was really bad writing. But
Raphael Madrigal asks, was she born in a lab? The movie did not touch on that. The latest one, it explained that like she was born through like the mother did give birth to her, so she was able to like reproduce asexually, and so it was just like her own DNA completely. Is how they made it, because that's how like however they're able to do that, like, and then they established that Blue was able to do that too, but at least she had like lizard DNA that was that can reproduce that way, so she was able to give birth on her own as well. But I'm still kind of confused how
now female dinosaurs can reproduce without a male. How does that work? Well, they already did that they already solved that question in the first Jurassic Park
Where is
movie.
that? Oh he did.
Because in Jurassic Park, what it was is that some of them had tree frog DNA and they got changed to some of them changed to male. So most of the so that's answered in the first movie, because that's from the book too. Actually, that's what happened in the book. And the problem with like, so that means that like there were always male dinosaurs on the island since the first movie. Now Rexy is female because Rexy was born in the lab, and same thing with that the Brontosaurus, but then those ones are confirmed like born in the lab animals. So those ones are female, but Although at the same time, me saying that is actually disproven by the fact that they could change sex because of the tree frog DNA. But anyway, go on.
As an aside about tree frogs, how come like the transgender issues and everything like that, like no one brings up when you're talking about that, like the tree frogs are able to change their sex and fully.
Like, so I don't know anything about tree frogs. What I and I'm like, what? I don't know like what species of tree frog they're referring to. But so to me, I'm sort of like, that is just a one line they put in the first movie that I'm just accepting as sure that is the thing that happens. I don't know if it's true in the real world.
Yeah. But again, I guess like if you establish, that's the thing, like don't believe fictional movies, although most of what I've learned in life has been from TV. But be wary about but if you establish something in your fictional universe, then I'm like, okay, like this is this is precedent, and like this is the world and I believe it and let's move on. And then when you're like, actually change this thing, but just to say out loud too that tree surgeon said that T-Rex only lives 30 years at most. That's older than I expected, like a large animal to live.
That's how old I thought it was going to be. And since like it just seemed like it was too long. This dinosaur's been around for too long.
I'm also willing to kind of suspend disbelief because they are cloned creature that like maybe their lifespans and they have other DNA in them, or like how they're born in labs and stuff too, that I'm willing to say like, yeah, maybe they do just live a lot longer or a lot shorter, or like that. How are they? Like,
someone made the argument that like, oh, they lead cushy captive lives, and I'm like, only for like 10% of the length of the two franchises, because if you think about it, like the T-Rex gets loose like what, in the first act of the first movie, and then the second movie they're just roaming around free. Third movie they're still just I think she's captured in that one, but it wasn't a very nice capture, and she somehow got out on the boat and killed everybody on the boat and then put herself back in the hold, and then she rampaged around a city for a little bit. Then they brought her back to the island, but then they let her free again, and then she was taken care of in Jurassic World until again everything went to shit, and then she's free for 3 years, then she's captured. But you gotta remember, she keeps getting injured. Like almost at the end of almost every movie, she gets injured again. So like,
yeah,
she's not leading a cushy life here.
No, the poor thing. Hey, also the one, I don't know what the dinosaur was, but it was like the large feathered thing with the long that ended up fighting with a T-Rex to take down the Wolverine one. Yeah, that one. Yeah. But when it's just like dirt to dirt to dirt. Oh, hey, a deer. And it just swings down and smacks it and it sends it like, why did you weren't even doing it to like eat it or anything. You just slapped it and it flew and killed that deer just cause it seemed like. But
I know. Wait, I liked the first Jurassic World movie because, especially when it came to the Utah Raptors, I'm not calling them fucking Velociraptors. Those are not Velociraptors. They're Utah Raptors. So like Blue and Echo and Delta and all of them, Charlie,
Utah as in like the state? Or
yes.
Okay.
Utah Raptors, not Velociraptors. Velociraptors are the size of chickens. Okay.
Really? They're that small?
Yeah, they're that small. Utah Raptors are as big as the raptors shown throughout the Jurassic Park and World shows, movies. But so like the Utah Raptors in Jurassic World, the first one, they acted like cats a lot of the times. Their animal behavior was amazing. I thought it was so good. And then but then like the Indominus Rex was stupid. Like like so dumb, because like it's like she knew what thermal vision was, and when it was being used on her, she she knew when people were coming after her somehow. Like, it was like really, it's like, okay, who gave her the script? Who gave the Indominus Rex the script?
It was programmed into her DNA when they cloned her and stuff, though, so
Yeah,
she just is
really.
already born to know it. Yeah. What was I gonna say to the was it in the second film? Yeah, because it was the lead guy. I don't know anyone's names ever, but
Owen.
no, sorry, the lead of the company, the head of was it Biosyn, or was that in the third one? Whatever.
That's the third movie.
Okay, in the
Biosyn's the
second movie,
third.
whatever, like where he was like the CEO of the whole thing, where he was actually the bad guy in secret, and
Yeah, I don't remember his name because I don't
yeah,
give a
yeah.
shit about that guy.
So when he goes into like the subway thing, the underground trains later, then those other dinosaurs, whatever they're called, like that have like the frilly, like where
Oh
they
yeah. Oh no, that is
the
the third movie. You were talking about the third movie. The you're talking about, yeah,
oh, that was
that's
the third one. Okay.
that was the third one, and that's the
Oh, right, because it had
Dodson
the
guy.
first characters. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And he's trying to escape, and those things show up.
Yeah.
And
And
what I literally started laughing out loud because he starts his like spiel at them for a moment.
yeah, he started well, I mean, in his defense, I do talk to my animals a lot, like, but I think that's what's funny, where I'm like, I buy this, I believe, because like like the roosters, I guess the hens maybe too, but like roosters, they have cackles, so then like when they get upset too, like the cackles come out, like when
There's
they're
a
trying to be intimidating, and I'm like, oh
there's a
yeah,
little lizard that looks like that. There's a little lizard
yes, yeah,
that
yeah,
will stand up on its back legs and like flare its fringe and like hiss and
right.
make
Was
a ton
that
of noise.
also used in Holes, the movie? I feel
Yeah,
like
I
they used
think
those,
so
yeah.
actually. But yeah, these ones like spray a poison.
Right, yeah, because he got
And
sprayed for it, and he was just like, "Oh,
you
I'm
know what? It wasn't
melting."
until I was watching like reviews and stuff that someone pointed out that the Steve Jobs dude, the Biosyn CEO, is actually Dodson from the first Jurassic Park movie, and I was like, "What?"
Oh.
I was so shocked by that, and I was like, "Why?" And then that his death scene makes more sense because it's a reference to the fact that the guy who was stealing stuff to give to him, that's how he died. He died by one of
Right.
those
Yeah, I
fringe
thought it was a
dinosaurs.
familiar death.
Yeah, it is.
Really.
It's only there was more than one there that
Yeah, yeah.
time.
Uh, yeah, I'll say too, as far as the third one goes, I do think it was a fun idea to bring back the original characters from, like, the first trilogy, or however we wanna describe how these, but, just because it's like, oh, if this is the final film for this universe, though, like, I thought it was fun, but it was like, there are so many main characters here that, like, it was too, like, you're bouncing around, like, I don't remember who's who, like, I get the idea of, like, you kinda mirror, like, oh, you have, like, the younger version and the older version of both the man and woman, but then you, like, threw in the other, like, the pilot and stuff too, which they obviously, like, cut out more story from her, because it was just like, why is she so invested in um helping, this girl out, and like, well, I saw her, and I didn't do anything at the time, and now I'm like, really, like, you seem like you're willing to die, you're risking your life to help this person, that like you didn't have to, like, go through all this trouble, like, I think there was
You
more
could
to
have
it, and
just pointed them in the right direction for
yeah,
once.
yeah, and they even, at one point, they, like, pan in the plane, and, like, they have a printed photo of, like, her, and I think, like, maybe her husband or something, though, so it was just like, "Oh, that there may have been more of a story here," where they're like, I was assuming that they'd get into it, that, like, oh, she lost her own daughter at some point, or, like, her family split up, but nope, it was just like,
Yep.
just because I saw her earlier, and then I didn't help then, and I wanna help now." Like, "Okay."
Yeah. Possum Reviews went over that scene where they drop Claire out of the plane when they're going over, and he goes over it. No, it wasn't Possum Reviews. It was Critical Drinker. He like really went into it, and it, like, pointing out, like, okay, so she only has one parachute, but she doesn't have it on the pilot seat. That doesn't make any sense. And there is a lot of those kinds of things going on in these movies where, like, they wrote things that in a way that did not make any sense, that just helped them get to the next action piece,
Mhm.
essentially. And that's a big one. And there's no reason, like, why does she even have to be separated from them, Claire? And why, like, there's no, it's just to get the poster shot, essentially, the part where she's getting into the water.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you could have separated at any other point. Like, you just split up when this dinosaur is running and you get, yeah, like, that could have
It would
been
have been
really
more
easily done.
organic than that.
Yeah. But I
And
guess
I
it is
think,
more action-y.
to be honest with you, I think part of it is that, like, Trevorrow and hates Bryce Dallas Howard
Oh,
because
really?
she hates roller coasters. She hates them. And he keeps putting her in these stunt contraptions that fling her around like she's on a roller coaster. She literally passed out while they were filming during Fallen Kingdom because of one of the roller coaster contraptions.
Wow.
And it's like, it's starting to feel like especially when they're like, we're gonna put you on in a ejector seat and send you out, and we're gonna have a camera on you, so we're gonna fling you around. Like, it's starting to feel deliberate at this point.
Yeah. What was I gonna say to the the whole thing? There was a lot of things that were like contrived, and I lost it. It'll come back to me later. But in the meantime, Jared McGowan, he was saying some stuff earlier, scrolling back up to see. He said, in Jurassic Park, hermaphrodism had occurred in some of their dinosaurs, but they still need to mate to make offspring, while parthenogenesis is asexual without a mate.
Which is what's going on with Blue.
With Blue, okay. I mean, assuming that is accurate enough that, like, okay, that she was supposed to able to do that with their science. I guess with what's his name, Henry, right? Because he was like always ended up. I felt so bad. Like, I guess he's in the original Jurassic Park films, but like I can't. It's been so long since I don't even know if I've seen the second and third one of those. Actually, I know I'm positive I've seen the first, but I can't remember.
He's not in the second or third one.
Okay, but so he's in the original, and then they brought him, but he's just, I feel so bad because it's like he just keeps kind of like aligning with like the wrong people, or he's just like, I just want to do science and I want to I want to create these things, and like, oh man, I screwed up, and
yeah,
whoops, and he just wants to correct it. Like, I feel so bad for him. I'm like, oh, you're pathetic.
What's funny is that, like, in the first and the second Jurassic World movies, he seemed a little bit more evil, honestly, and then the third one, he kind of comes off more pathetic, like he's like realized what a dumbass he's been. But yeah, the first and the second one, though, I'm sort like, especially the first one, because he's pretty big in the first one, where he's all like, bigger, toothier, cooler, I think is the word you used. And like, he's like, but at the same time, he's working with the InGen like weapons development team behind the back of the guy in charge of the park. So it's sort of like he is playing a little dirty.
And this is the original first one.
This is Jurassic World.
Okay. I guess even with that, though,
he's very minor in Jurassic Park. Honestly, he's in the part where the dinosaur
because he was young
egg hatch, and then like he's gone. Like, he's not in the rest. He talks to them about like what kind of dinosaurs they have and what speeds they can run at, and then he's gone for the rest of the movie. He's not there because he gets on the boat and he leaves. We assume, like, because everyone was leaving for the storm.
Right? Yeah.
So then everyone else that's left behind, poor Samuel L. Jackson died, but
him.
I know. See, that's the thing, is that I felt like there's, in the first Jurassic Park movie, the park, not world, there's actual concern for most of the characters because, like, first of all, it was the first one, so we have no idea what rules they're setting up for the story. Right. And they did kill some good people, like people, because they're fucking dinosaurs. They don't care about like whether or not you have moral fiber, like. It's just that, like, totally, you could have killed the assistant in the first Jurassic World movie. You just didn't have to do it that hardcore. Yeah. I think that's the difference.
That was all right. So I'm Plane. I'm putting a pin in Plane, and I want to read this thing real quick from earlier where Zato was making fun of me, where he says, the lead guy of the thing. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Just trying to describe who it is of the thing that I don't even know what he's in charge of, but it's yeah, that part of the movie. And
Yeah,
then
that
plane.
one.
That was so when she is parachuting out of the plane and stuff. The fact that the pterodactyl or whatever it was did that at all was strange to me because it like lands on it and it like takes its toe and or was it beak or toe or something and like just and scratches down the back of the plane to tear it open. And I'm like, what animal does that in the sky? Like if you were thinking if it's food or something, like you're going to attack something down below, or like that's just not how you're going to try and get
I
food. If you're
have
doing it for like territorial things, like that's not how you, like I would think if we're going to believe evolution works and like birds come from like dinosaurs that way, that they fight in the sky differently than just like, hey, I'm going to pierce and scratch you down the back.
that was the thing, is that like I have seen birds of prey take like sparrows out of the sky to eat them. I have seen that. But like the thing is though is that most predator animals, if they attack something man-made that they don't know whether or not it's food or whatever, like if it is for food, then they go, oh, this isn't food, like immediately after they like really
Yeah,
investigate.
well, that's a
Even sharks, like they might take a bite out of a human and then they go, oh, that wasn't food. Like they literally don't actually think of us as food, really. And so to me, I'm sort of like, yeah, it would probably not like really pursue it. If it was just territorial, it would not do it in the way that it happened here.
yeah. Well, that's like I can believe that something would get out of the air, but like you said, sparrows though. So like a bird of prey, it's gonna like it's something where it's like it's sizable enough to take out something else in the sky that's gonna be smaller. And the pterodactyl was either the same size, if not smaller than the plane, and it was just like that's. I don't know what its intention is, even instinctually, like whatever the move would,
Yeah.
it seemed unrealistic that an animal would attempt to do that to like whether it thought it was food or a threat or something though too. It was just, I mean, again, it was mostly like if it were like pecking at it or something though, like like flapping it, I
Or
can
trying
believe that
like
more.
push it or something, like because I could see it like shoving it like from
Yeah.
above, like that,
Yeah.
because that would be trying to unseat its flight or whatever.
Right, something to just try and, like, knock it out, like, okay, like, yeah, like,
Yeah.
we're gonna fight in the sky, but it had this intention of just of, like, one very precise movement
Yeah.
to do it, and I was like, "I have never seen an animal do that before," and I've been having my chickens be killed recently, though, like, things are not as like, simple and straightforward like that. There's a
Wait,
lot of feathers
yeah,
everywhere.
it's been almost 20 years since I've read the novels. Remind me, is Dodgson the guy from the Lost World chat? Is he the guy who's trying to get to the island B, the B island? Because I like from the way you guys are talking, that's what I'm picking up on.
By
Um,
Dario Sussman. Um, I thought I'm not I was not reading chat. What are people saying?
they're talking about Dodgson and how badly he was done in Dominion.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, so
Let's see.
that's all right. I remember that character, but I didn't remember his name. It is the guy from the Lost World novel.
Hmm.
That's who that's supposed to be. He's nothing like that in the novel. Like
Really?
he's more like a Steve Jobs type, like, oh, I've got such a wonderful plan for the future. Join me in it. Join my cults. Buy my products. That's how he is in this movie. That's not how he is in the novel. Like, like I'm remembering, like I remember the novel, but I don't. It's been a really long time, so I don't. Names are not
Oh,
in my head.
I don't even have
But
that
yeah.
excuse. I forget immediately. But movies are tough because they're just it's not enough time for me to like sit and get to know. That's why I like TV shows where I'm like, oh, I keep seeing this character over and over, and it might take me like a season, but eventually, like, oh yeah, like I get you. I forgot about Newman from Seinfeld being in it. I do
Yeah.
remember that scene.
I remember some review I watched or whatever said that he's Hammond's stepson, and I was like, he is? Like, I don't remember that at all. Like, that is not in my brain. Like, I never picked that up from Jurassic Park ever. And I'm like, where does it say that? Please tell me a line, something, because I don't remember this. But
Yeah.
then, the thing is, though, is that, like, oh, I know a lot of people are like, oh, the novels are better, and I don't actually think that Jurassic Park and the Lost World are Michael Crichton's best work. I'm a much bigger fan of something like The Terminal Man. Like his stuff where he's actually dealing with being a doctor. Like I'm gonna read the Andromeda Strain this year, but I don't think Jurassic Park is that good. Like I honestly don't. Like I know that that's sacrilege, but I don't think it's that good of a novel.
Well, I mean, I can see it. Well, I haven't read it, but like I could see that like the plot is pretty simple as far. I mean, like, and it's mostly just about like, hey, we're fighting against like the dinosaurs, even in Jurassic World, it makes sense to me too, where it's like you already had the dinosaurs as like the bad guys at least in the first original Jurassic Park. Just because it's like, yeah, like they're dinosaurs, like this is just what they do. Like they're going to be around and attack. But then it makes sense later on. It's like, well, now humans are going to be, and I guess maybe in the second, third of Jurassic Parks, maybe I think humans were bad guys in there too, but I don't know. I can't remember. But it makes sense.
There's a strong cliche once you get to the second movie that starts coming through most of the movies. It's not in Dominion, I don't think, actually, now that I think about it. But if the military mercenary type guy who's going to capture the dinosaurs and doesn't really give a shit about their well-being.
He was Captain Stottlemyre in Monk.
Yeah, he was. But he's in like all the movies from like 2 to I guess 5, because it's like, but they're in a lot of movies.
Was he?
Yeah, not the same character.
Just the military.
Not just this military type guy who is unscrupulous and doesn't give a shit, but wants to capture the dinosaurs, doesn't care about the lives of the other people. That character is in movies 2, 3, 4, and 5, and he's annoying. Like I am sick seeing that character. They all are played by different actors. They're all different like names. They're not the same character, but they are the same character.
Right.
And it's the same character that's in Avatar too. The character's in Avatar, that character's in The Abyss as well. And it's like, stop making this character. This character is a cliche. We do not need to see this character in so many freaking movies.
Like, you'd think that in Jurassic World, the universe, Jurassic Park universe, that eventually they would all die off because like I assume they all get killed by
they all
the dinosaurs.
Capture dinosaurs and die.
Yeah. How dare you? So eventually they're all going to die.
I guess there was kind of the poacher guy in Dominion. I kind of forgot about him, and he did die. He wasn't as obvious of as that character because he wasn't like all bulky and overly masculine type, but he was still very similar. And then there was the character who ran that woman that ran the dino black market. Do you remember that character? That it's like, oh, she seems pretty interesting and maybe a little scary. Is she going to be in more of the movie? No.
Yeah, nope. It was just she seemed like she was like going to be way more, I don't know, powerful or something somehow. Or it was just like, she seemed really cool, and but then she was like, "You're done, okay, cool."
Yeah, we're done with that character. No more of her.
Like JB says, makes perfect sense. The dinosaur was a doctor and was performing a personectomy on the aircraft, the pterodactyl on the plane. Like, yes, it could have been a very good surgeon with how it was like straight down like the center of the back of the plane.
I had a really hard time watching these movies. Like, I don't mind Jurassic World that much because it's kind of funny because it has this idea that it's like a little ironic in the fact that it's some of the stuff it says about commercialism, about the original attempt, and how hard it is to please new audiences, and then they made a bunch of sequels.
Yeah.
Just like
ignore everything they said before.
Yeah, ignore all that. We want to make more money. Okay.
Well, any final thoughts on, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Again, too many characters, not enough blue. Those were my biggest issues.
Oh yeah,
I
also
think.
the other thing. This does not work on every dinosaur in existence.
We've been doing that to our birds now lately too, though.
If I did that to Missy, she'd bite my hand.
Actually, it kind of works. It kind of works with the rooster though too. Like when you hold your hand out, like he kind of pauses. Though, like we had already been doing that beforehand, where he kind of gets scared and. But it doesn't always work. Like he'll jump and stuff.
Like Owen has magic hands. They just work on all dinosaurs.
But then everyone's able to do it too. Though it's like
and then everyone else does it. It's like, oh, this is how you stop them? You mean the dinosaur's just not gonna reach forward and rip your arm off? That's not gonna happen? Like, sure. Like, no, it worked on Blue.
Right. It's because she was intelligent, more intelligent than the others. And
trained
by
him to do that. So it's like, this does not work on everything.
Right. That's why, again, like I can kind of believe it, where I'm like, all right, if chickens come from dinosaurs, though, like this, my rooster has kind of had like but again, it's not in the same way. And then we were like, is it fingers spread out, or do you have to close? Because they were doing it both ways too. So it was just like the existence of the hand. Talk to the hand does not work for bears, says Raphael.
Well, the thing is, your chickens and your roosters have generations of being with humans.
Yeah. I think he'd be less of a cock to me then. So
he can't help it. It's his species.
He's better right now because he's still recovering and missing this tail. So I think right now we're still on friendly terms, because I think I've been nursing him. He knows that I've been nursing him back to health. And I, even when he was like attacking me early on, I'd always yell at him and say like, I'm your mama. Like, you don't do this to me.
I love trying to help animals, and they're always like, God, let me go, stop.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, I am helping you.
Right, this is for your own good.
You're too dumb to understand what's going on right now.
Which is how all of the like politicians and stuff feel about the people of the country.
We're not dumb animals.
Well, I like to believe that, but sometimes I wonder.
Some humans are dumb animals.
My geese are really dumb, but I'm willing to bet that they're smarter than some of the people out there that I've come across. So, oh my gosh, there's to be a little specific, and I feel bad kind of like bringing her up, but it was fun. Like at the vet, the technician, one of the assistant techs or whatever, I'm pretty sure, like I was just confused by how like confused she was generally. I'm going to try and say this the nicest way I can, because I can be a lot meaner about it, but it was just like, oh, and asking questions about like, am I able to like stand him up to exercise him? And she's like, I don't know. And just like really simple stuff at the end. Like I gave her the names that she's like writing down on like a Post-it, but they never ended up having like the names on, even on the prescription. I had to go to the pharmacy to get the prescription, and the woman was like, oh, is the pet's name Duckling? And I was like, no, but it is a duckling. So they just never like put the name down. I don't think that vet has it out. And there are other things too that girl, she just seemed rather simple in a lot of ways. And I was like, oh, right, because she was telling me, like reading me to like the instructions for the prescription. She was like, 0.5 ml, something. This is 0.4 ml once a day. And I was like, does she know what ML stands for in this thing?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think she knew that it meant milliliter. She just said the letters.
Oh God.
So it's like, oh, honey. Thank you.
Oh,
it was really sweet, but yeah.
That's fun.
All right. Okay, if that's everything for Jurassic World, we've been going about an hour on it anyway, so we can move on to the next topic. And I'm still just going to be frustrated by Blue. Oh, I guess I hadn't read. Oh, we put it up, but then audio-wise, no one would be able to hear what the meme said, and so it had "the best mothers stay home" was what that meme said.
Yeah.
And it had a picture of Blue and her child. What was it? Beta.
It's Beta. That's her child's name.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what's the next topic? You want to do Diablo? You have more knowledge on this.
So, God, it's just so. They announced it years ago that they were going to release Diablo Immortal as a mobile game. And it's kind of this iconic moment because of the fact that no one reacted when they made that announcement. Like it was dead silent essentially. This is a huge crowd of gamers, by the way, like who love Diablo, and they say it's Diablo Immortal on mobile. Silent. And
why is it that just no one liked the
because
games?
gamers are not mobile gamers.
Oh, okay, yeah. That makes sense. That checks out.
Yeah. So then he goes, "Do you guys not have phones?" He literally asked that, and then people are like,
Yeah. Like if you're really into gaming, like I'm not gonna do it on my phone.
I know. I'm not a mobile gamer. As soon as I got a real PC, I didn't fucking go back to mobile games.
Hi, Jared. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Yeah. I liked what mobile games. I mostly just do Sudoku now. Is the only thing that I might play. But like I liked the Starship Unicorn. If you know that game, I liked that one. I like the Rainbow 2046, and there's another one. Starship Unicorn was a big one, but yeah. So I don't even do anything on my phone really.
I know it's not so. Like the thing is, though, is that the first 3 Diablo games were. Yeah, hi John. I hope your headache's okay. It's John. I don't actually.
She means I hope it's okay. I hope the headache is
doing
great. I hope your headache is really successfully hurting your head.
Yeah, but so like the first 3 Diablo games were mostly. I'll keep talking. For the chat, for mostly PC and Diablo 2.
Sorry.
Okay, she's back. So yeah,
I saw the fox like 2 or 3 times today, so
oh god, yeah, you gotta be on your toes.
Yeah.
But like, so the first 3 Diablo games were on PC. The first one was a hit. The second one was even bigger. And it was quite a time between 2 and 3, honestly. And then when 3 came out, it sold like hotcakes. Like honestly, it was intensely anticipated game. So in the first 24 hours, it sold a lot of copies.
Wow.
And it was not, though, a very good game. A lot of people were kind of disappointed in it as Diablo.
Piano Tiles. Sorry, I just remembered what that other game was that I played.
Oh, yeah. You just shouted words at me.
Yeah.
But so they came out with Diablo Immortal. It's finally out, and they made $24 million in their first week. Which, by the way, isn't even as much money as is slightly more than a tenth of what they made in the first 24 hours of when they sold Diablo 3. Yeah.
Let me see. I think I have a link. What is this? Diablo Immortal is exactly what fans feared it would be.
You have not read this.
But it probably says what you. Oh, this was posted today.
Yeah, it's pay to win though is the problem. You have to really advance your characters, and there's so many levels to how you advance your characters. Like I was trying to listen to Yanye explain it, and I was like, what? I can't follow this. This is too complex. And it's just it's the legendary gems and chests, and you want to rank up your character to 5. And there's a 5% chance of a 5-star legendary gem. And one streamer who was streaming it, he literally dropped more than 25,000 New Zealand dollars.
Oh yeah. Okay, I saw it. Was it a tweet?
Yeah, to get to Yeah, the tweet, and you can watch him do it on, like, there's a video that someone posted of him doing it, and it's insane. Like 20, like that's like $15,000 US, by the way. So yeah, he finally got his 5 out of 5 star gem, and it only took him 25,000 New Zealand dollars.
How do you have that much money to spend
He's a
on this?
streamer. He's a gaming
Oh,
streamer.
okay.
If you're an established gaming streamer, like this
You make
could also
so
be a
much.
tax write-off for him at this point. Like that's the
Yeah,
thing that a
right?
lot of people don't get, is that like when you get to a point where you're doing this for money as a gaming streamer, you can write off all your gaming expenses.
Wow. It's yeah, I know that like like League of Legends is when I was learning about how that just professional streaming games was a thing, and I learned through that, and like they make like in the millions sometimes, like it's crazy.
Yeah, so if you scroll down, I think someone posted it maybe on this. Yes, he says is currently equal
Oh,
to 15,000 US dollars. That's how much money it took.
wow.
Um,
Wow.
that,
So there.
yeah. It's pretty, and like some people were like, "Oh, why would you pay them this much money to show this?" Because by the way, he deleted the game after he did this.
Really?
He streamed it live, he did it, but it made headlines. So like to me, I'm sort of like, he proved his point. He showed to everyone, like without a doubt, how predatory the game is. So like it's now without doubt that this is ridiculous. No one should pay this much money. Yeah, it is Rooster Codburn. I think it's $100,000 to completely level up. Yeah, Yanye has covered this pretty intensely because he mostly covers unethical gaming practices. So that's pretty big. Yeah.
And Paul said 25K New Zealand dollars, so like $100.
Not quite. If it was $100, that wouldn't be that big a deal. Like honestly, that's still bad, but it's not $15,000 bad. And that's for one gem. Like
Wow.
Jesus.
Wow. Yeah, I do not play anything that costs money. Like, even like with where it's like, oh, you can skip ads or you can get more lives or whatever, like in the games too, if you just pay a little bit, like, no, I'll sit and let this play
Yeah.
through, or I'm just gonna stop playing after like 5 minutes anyway. So I'm just doing this to kill time for whatever I'm doing. But like I'm just not, I'm so frugal
Yeah.
generally. And then I spend it on things that I think matter. So I'll spend hundreds of dollars on a baby duck and 5-hour round trips to the
Well, I mean,
vet. So.
clearly, as a gaming streamer myself, I do spend money on games.
Oh yeah. Like it's just one of those, where your priorities
Yeah.
on certain things. Though, and like for me, I'm just like, I am not gonna do that.
Well, I mean, and you don't have to. Like, see, everyone has their thing. I don't think anyone should be spending 15 grand on a mobile game, though.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like as much as our car.
I don't think anyone should be spending that kind of money. And the thing is, though, is that they take it from you in small amounts, so it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
feel like you're spending that much money.
Yeah, what's it called?
That's the
The
real dirty microtransaction.
micro. Yeah.
The really dirty thing about microtransactions is that it's chipping away at you, and you don't realize that that's what's going on. Like, I'm not completely against all microtransactions, like, but there is this thing called a loot box that is in a lot of games, and what it is that it's like you pay money for a chance to win something from this box, as opposed to I pay money, you give me this product. No, I pay money, you give me a chance at this product. Do you see the problem there? By the way, that's gambling. Like they want to
Yeah.
say it's not gambling, but it's gambling. Their idea is that it has no monetary value. That's their defense, because you can't sell it. And it's like, well, then if it has no monetary value, why am I paying for it?
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be free? So that's the real like problem with that. Like people have seen that I have spent money on premium currency. They've seen that I've spent money on season passes. Those things are, I wouldn't necessarily call them ethical necessarily, but I know what I'm getting.
Right.
You know, it's not the same as paying for a chance at a product. Like, to me, that is too far. And I don't think it should be allowed. Like, I know that seems weird, but the reason why I say that is because there's still people under 18 in all around the world who love video games and will play video games on their parents' the consoles and the phones that their parents buy them. And they will definitely not understand. Some of them will not understand that this is real money that they're giving them. Or even if they do, what they don't get is that they're developing a gambling addiction.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and I think maybe that's a big thing too. I am easily addicted to, I have I have OCD, so then I have obsessive personality to a lot of things. So I have to be careful because it's like I can get really into something. And I think a lot of times it's just like, no, I just can't get started into this or else I probably wouldn't be able to stop. Also, Winky Winky Woo is upset that you ignored. He said him above. Alex loves micro, and I'm assuming that's a sexual joke. But
oh. Am I wearing a sweater in the middle of summer?
Yeah,
I was literally just telling Beverly about this before the live stream, but there's something wrong with the ducts in my AC unit.
You're saying DUCT, not DUCK, yeah, like I have.
Yeah, where all the air, all of it, is coming directly into my room, and I run cold. So I've been like really cold. Now my friend closed the vents in my room, but it's still coming in here somehow. So
which I would take. I want that because it's so hot in this room, and I have no circulation in my hands and feet, so they're like always cold. But I think I just run hot otherwise, though. So I'd rather swap places with you.
Maybe, but I like the problem with the big vent is that the thing that you use to open and close it's gone. So that's why I said my friend did it, because it had to be taken off, like, and then changed and then screwed back in. Just move it like I would want to. And it was funny too, because like the first time I complained about it being cold in my room, he was like, I have no sympathy. And he reaches up to close it and he goes, oh. And I was like, oh, you didn't know that?
Yeah, so hence the sweater. And it works with the background though too, as if it's cold.
Yeah. I don't know what temperature is it in Arizona right now. Like, it's got to be hot right now.
It's just humid. It's so humid here and I hate it. Oh, Winky Winky Woo says the ducks, and I don't know if he's asking about your ducts or my ducks, but if it's the latter, let me reiterate how give me your money so I can help my duck be able to walk because it's unable to. Let me get another picture up of him. Let me see. Window. We'll do this one, and you can see this was just taken today, and it's still hard to see, but his legs are bandaged up here to try and keep them from they're already kind of crisscrossing. I have to keep like spreading them out. But this one on the bottom, his name is Dick Van Duck, and we call him DVD. And the one up top, she's getting so big. So she's younger. She started off so tiny, or and her name is Mary Tyler Molt, and we call her MTM. So by donating to Unsafe Space, you're helping this duck try to learn to be able to walk.
I have had my AC go out in the summertime here before.
No,
by the way, it's terrible. I say that because Tree Surgeon said, "Lucky you, my AC is broken."
We just have the window unit in the living room, and I would like to get central air.
I can't hardly live without it. I grew up with it. Like, I know, like, there are a lot of people in Arizona who don't have it. Like, honestly,
I can't imagine living. Yeah, and not have it.
But a lot of people do only have window units even here, and fans, like 4 fans, and ceiling fans and stuff. And it sucks, but you can still survive it, even if it is like 120 outside.
Oh my gosh, I could not. Dan, I would die. Well, I mean, but it's dry there, right? So it's not.
Not during monsoon season. Like a
Oh,
lot of
then
people
I
think,
would die.
which monsoon season is actually during the summertime. So like we get like, so there's a couple of days, maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, that is very humid too. And maybe your entire power is going to go out because it is a monsoon. And that sucks. But because yeah, it's humid right now actually, because there is a storm.
Yep. See, but not so, because it doesn't have to be, if it's at all humid, it doesn't even be that hot, but I can step outside and I'm just like immediately drenched in sweat. Like, well, nope, I'm gonna go back inside. uh, or you have to get all like the work done outside on like for all the animals and stuff. And I'm like, I'm gonna shower later after I could, get gross enough. And then like, okay, now I can clean up.
So
okay.
so our like, I don't know, that feels like everything I could say about Diablo Immortal.
Diablo.
That is, yeah. But
It
someone in chat
seems,
said Diablo Immoral.
yeah, it seems ridiculous to have. I mean, I guess if people are willing to spend the money, even like if you can write it off though, like you've got
Well, see, this
15,000
thing
US
is that
dollars.
they don't. I mean, a streamer, he could probably write it off, but that's not who's doing this. Like, it's whales, and it's almost always whales in foreign countries, by the way, like China and Korea. And to me, my problem though is that it's like, just because you could do it, just because these people are willing to do it, is it right for someone to do it? To because it's. I mean,
Yeah.
to some extent, though, there are gambling laws in the U.S. at least, and some other countries that are like, no, you can't have gambling for children, and children are playing these games, and that's my problem. I think more than anything is that children are playing the games, and the games have gambling in them.
I have to think about that because I'm not sure where I mean, for children, yeah, like I have concern. I mean, we'd place bets on like poker games or, when you're playing with your friends and you just use whatever, like, food and
M&Ms.
yeah, like that kind of
I
thing. So
know, I
like
did
that's
that
always,
too.
so I'm trying to think of like where I would draw the line, and I don't know yet. So I don't want to like have an opinion on this because it's something that I'm like, I haven't really thought about where I stand on. And like, because generally I would say that like people, you make a product, and if people are willing to do it, and it's kind of up to the individual to be like, I should know my limits on something, that like if I have a problem, like it's not up to a company, it's not their responsibility to
Yeah.
like take care of me. So then like, and although I also understand people might need help, that they might not be able to do stuff, but then it's not the job, the company's responsibility.
The other issue though is that this is bleeding into all forms of gaming, that they
Yeah.
are disrupting the entire industry. Like, I want to play like single player games and some MMOs with my friends and some of the viewers. I don't like, so the problem is that the industry is all trying to shift in this direction that not every player wants. In fact, most of the players don't want. They just want those whales that who are actually a minority. So like so now we have this problem where only the indie market is willing to hit that, like the fact that the majority of us don't want this. So it's like, I don't know how you balance that, like I don't like, because this is what happened to the Shadow of Mordor, the Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor game. The sequel was full of microtransactions, and it's like the first one was not like that, and it was like not this loot box nightmare. So it's like the problem is that it keeps like beloved titles like Diablo are turning into this when we would just rather play a Diablo game. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, we don't actually want this, the majority of gamers. So that's where it's like there's this disconnect between what they can make money off of and what we're willing to buy. Like, I don't know what to do about that.
It reminds me, because not in the microtransaction kind of way exactly, but just how they've changed everything, where it's like instead of being able to buy a product, they do subscriptions. So like anything I've got, like Adobe for Premiere and Photoshop and all of that too. And I used to have Pro Tools, and like Pro Tools, it used to be you buy this for like a couple $100s or whatever, and then you owned it. But now you can't purchase it; you can only like rent it, and you'd have to pay a monthly fee
The
to be able to
subscription
use it. So
fee.
then
Yeah.
they and like everything's doing like, oh, instead of being able to sell, like we can just continuously make money forever on this. Like, all right, we'll do that instead. And so it's just like yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, yeah, you're allowed to do that, but like yeah, where that line is like, but it sucks. Like this is a dumb thing, and like I'd rather be able to find something else that I don't need to do that. I got rid of Microsoft stuff, Word of Office. Though, like I stopped using that, and I use LibreOffice now, and it's fine. But my biggest problem, I don't know if you have it because I know like you're using it because we're using it for the Unsafe Space
I
stuff,
am Weber box, yeah.
but my problem with it is it freezes a lot. So like at least with the writing app for it though too, like it'll just freeze. And if I don't wait, like I'm shut it down, like you might lose stuff or but like if I just have to wait a really long time, and then eventually
Oh
it's like, nope,
gosh.
we're good now. We're fine. But then I'm like the notes that I wanted to write down to like usually I think it was like for this, I was like, oh, let me write down stuff so I know what to talk about later. But then I'm like, it's frozen. So I'm like, well, I hope I remember what I wanted to talk about and write this down later once it unfreezes.
Yeah.
So
Oh god, that's unfortunate.
but part of
Yeah,
it, you get what you pay for.
I'm not a fan of the subscription service software myself.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of your buying time with this like kind of thing, because they also do that with like books and movies and TV shows that you buy digitally. Technically you only own them as long as the platform on which you own them has a like the ability to host it. Which is why if you buy my novel, it is not DRM locked. It's just yours. I don't believe in this, so I'm not even going to practice it in my own content. I don't like it, but as a subscription service is one step above though the whole loot box thing, where we're like, okay, see, because this is what the loot box equivalent of that is.
Can you
that
spell?
like
Are you saying woot like
loot
loot? Okay.
LOOTBOX
Okay.
is that the problem with that is that if you look at it from like, okay, say it's software, like I pay Adobe $10 for a 5% chance that they give me the product I want.
Yeah.
That's what's going on there. And it's like, well, that's even worse. Okay, that's worse.
Right.
So I'm not okay with
Then it
like
does sound kind of fun.
I don't know. Like maybe it's fun for like half a minute, but like
Right.
really what it's playing on is that dopamine hit that you're getting from gambling. You know, you're like, oh, the chance. I'm so excited. Am I gonna get it? Am I gonna get it? You know, that's what they're playing off of, essentially.
They have they're so at I think it was at Gen Con, but I'm sure like other conventions, like nerdy conventions, would do similar things where it's like mystery boxes where you pay for it, but at least you get a product. But it just kind of reminds me of where like there was a bunch of board games, so you don't know what you're getting inside. You're just taking a chance of like you're spending this amount of money, and you're like you get a bunch of games, but they could be cool, they could suck, they could be like worse or whatever. Like so you just don't know. But it's fun to do. But at least you're getting something. Like maybe it doesn't actually add up to like how much you paid for it, but so that part's the gamble. But like you're getting a product at least where it's just nothing.
Well, and then the thing is though is that like you could go to a store and you could buy any of the products that were in there, couldn't you?
Yeah.
You can't do that. That's not available to you in the loot box format.
Right.
You like for most of that, or if you do pay, it's like an insane amount. But like and also you could trade someone. Say someone else got a different box at this party and they got this game and you wanted that game and you had a game that they wanted, you could trade, and it'd be fair because it's yours. You can't do that in these games. Like most of these games don't have trading, which trading was an old thing that a lot of games with multiplayer had. Some games still do it, but a lot of games have locked it because they know that they make less money if you're able to trade with other players. So they kind of ruined the working together quality of a lot of multiplayer games. But then, like I said, like a big part of the problem is that they are taking IPs that we love that have huge followings and then putting these microtransactions in them. So we're not getting a game we actually want to play. We're
Right.
like, the majority of the audience is not, their needs are not being met by the product that they are given.
Yeah, so all in all, I guess I'd say that like the concept is pretty terrible for all of that ever. I also wanted to note too to Tree Surgeon, because I put it up so I didn't forget to mention it. Tree Surgeon says Pro Tools sucks. I switched to Reaper. Yeah, I tried Reaper. I do own it. Like I did purchase it because that's something that you can buy flat out for like $60 and own it all, and which is nice. And my friend, he was like a coworker at the audio studio I worked at in Chicago for a while, and I never like super learned it. So you should, if you want to, reach out to me at some point. Maybe you can like give me some tips on like how to use. I used it for a bit and I think I had some trouble and I gave up on it though, and I don't remember what happened though. So like if you're a tutor of any kind, I'd be willing to learn about Reaper more. Right now I'm trying to learn Adobe Audition since I already pay for it anyway. Like I have the whole like all of Adobe products. But yeah, so hit me up, Tree Surgeon. And Tom Hannock Outlaw also says you got to get a MacBook. I used to have one. I used to have a MacBook Pro, and then a few years ago I had a Bartles and James, the juicy, barely alcoholic drinks, and I accidentally spilled it onto the computer, and it did not survive. I think the modem was totally gone, and I think I tried like fixing it, and it still didn't work. I think right now it turns on, but like something's wrong with the graphics card, like the screen doesn't light up, and so I can't. It was a rough time for me. So I switched to the Microsoft Surface Book, which it does not handle Pro Tools well, so that's why I gave up on Pro Tools. All right. Well, that's it on Diablo. What was the other thing we wanted? Just Joker 2. Not too much to talk about that. I just heard. Let me see. I have the link here. I barely have done any research on this at all, but I had heard that. So Joker 2, the film, has been announced, but people, is this showing up?
The audacity.
People are upset that it was announced during June because of Pride Month. And so like Twitter and I guess social media is up in arms over this announcement. They haven't done anything, like said anything. It was just the announcement, not even like a trailer, whatever. It's the fact that they said that this is happening and people freaking out.
I find this so funny. Like I'm just like, wow, you guys are such pussies that this announcement has ruined your entire month. My God.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like I'm not happy about hearing about this, not this particular month, but because I don't think this movie needs a sequel. I think this is a mistake from a writing perspective, but it has nothing to do with Pride. Like I don't care. Like I just think it's like I think it's a beautiful movie. The first movie is just so amazing. I noticed so much about it, how much work it was doing in different ways, like cinematography, shots, music. The music was amazing. And his performance, it was so good. And I really loved it, but it doesn't need a sequel.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I think that's my concern about is like what's going to happen with this. I have to say too that I do remember people it was like hit or miss as far as the Joker goes, and I had one friend who said that he thought I would love it, and then I had other friends who I think he's not woke, and then I had other friends who were woke and saying that like it was a terrible movie. So I just wasn't sure. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to think of it, but I I really enjoyed it, and I think it's because I have there's a thing about, like, kinda psychopaths that I find very intriguing, like, A Clockwork Orange, Alex from that, though,
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah.
man, like, I really like the characters that are and I don't know why, but it's just kind of like, "Hmm, this is fun for me." But, so I like Joker because of, like, his whatever psychological issues were going on.
Yeah, there's so much little details. They really it's kind of reminds me of The Shining by Kubrick in the amount of details that are going on the screen at any time. But yeah, the fact that these people are just freaking out is just ridiculous. Like
Why? They're just saying what this article or did this article just steal from the tweets? I'm confused by this because like, they're saying
they
stuff
said very little. Like they called what Tom Phillips, I can't remember
yeah, Todd
uh
Phillips. Yeah.
the leader of the incels or something like that. Which is like,
Oh,
okay.
oh, okay. Geez. Yeah, yeah. They're upset about the whole incel thing. So, yeah, some of these tweets, Mark says, announcing Joker 2 during Pride is just classic Joker. Justin says, the audacity to announce this during Pride Month. So that's why I'm confused. Is this the Daily Beast article that had the audacity up at top in red? Did they take it from that tweet, or is Justin taking from this article and then they updated it later? Like, I'm confused. Why are they all saying the same? Like, one pandemic at a time, please, which was said. Did they quote it? What was the and internet lit up with jokes and grievances. So yeah, so they took it from
Yeah,
okay, so that
that
one at
one
least
was
took
a
from this
quote.
tweet. So then
Yeah.
I'm confused about the audacity thing. Like maybe I guess I assume Daily Beast is just stealing from all these tweets and because they can't think of their own stuff
Essentially.
to write.
Yeah.
Um yeah, all right. So yeah, so Twitter is all upset over
See,
the
that's the
fact that a
only
movie was
tweet
announced.
that's the only tweet on this list so far that I've agreed with. Joker had a perfect
Oh
ending.
yeah.
The sequel feels unnecessary.
Yeah. And it's by She-Hulk, I guess.
Yeah, they blocked her name or something. I don't know.
Um, but yeah, I don't really have much more to say about that except for like, man, the fact that people get so upset about things like this is hilarious and really disappointing that this is
Well,
our world.
it's self-absorbed and fragile.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
like Hollywood doesn't care that it's Pride Month. Not really. They don't, okay? And also they're working on projects because they like Hollywood moves at the speed of like one thing a year, per person essentially. Especially with big projects, like the director's looking at something for a year. So like the idea that he's thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't say anything because it's Pride Month. Well, why would that matter?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it matters because Johnny Boy says Joker is LGBT. He's trans emotional from tragedy to comedy. So, so it matters then.
Well, then is the Joker like honestly the Joker the character is not something that is like necessarily anti-gay in any way or whatever. It's not something that has been directed at homosexuals at any point. I think they're specifically upset at the idea that a movie that focuses on the mental illness of a straight white man could get a sequel. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
I was wondering if it was some weird, like, projection thing where they were trying not to admit and I'm not saying I agree with this or not, but just wondering if this is what they were thinking and that, like, "Oh, this is a story about someone with mental illness, and this is during Pride Month," and they're trying to say that, like, that because they're announcing in Pride Month, you're saying that anyone who's of the LGBT has mental illness. So like it's offensive to even bring up the idea of mental illness during Pride Month because now you're trying to say that they're mentally ill. And so I just don't know. I'm like because they project on things, like I'm like,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
right, they do. They're highly insecure people, like incredibly insecure. Like everything is an assault against them and everything that they hold dear. It's so so childish.
Yeah,
It's so hard to listen to them sometimes because you're like, oh, everything is not about you. My God, don't make everything about you, you flamboyant asshole. And by which I mean the whole rainbow shit. Like, that's what I mean by flamboyant. And like,
yeah, you cunts.
Oh no, you said that so quietly. Maybe the mic won't pick it up.
Maybe YouTube won't notice. Like the AI won't hear it. But yeah, okay. So that's pretty much everything for Joker. I will likely see the film at some point then when it comes out. The next ones that I do want to talk about, I mean, I still want to have a couple other things I want to go over here tonight too, but I'm thinking as far as next week goes, we'll probably want to watch Lightyear since that's a current event.
And so looking forward to that. Thank you.
yeah. So I'm like not gonna already have opinions on certain things, but I'm not gonna say anything yet until I actually get the context of it. So other topics, what did we I guess a quick thing. I've seen commercials for the metaverse and when I actually think like, man, this seems cool. Like I know there's like people who are, pro and con of like going into like this virtual world, but I love the book Ready Player One, and I know like the point in it too is kind of saying like, oh, that they want to fix the real world. So like, I'm not saying we should all go in and all solely live in that, but like being in a virtual world to be able to have magic or do other things, that seems fun, and it actually seems a little useful because at least in the commercials it was like this doctor can practice this surgery as many times as she wants to be able to do. I'm like, that's cool. That seems useful. And so it actually kind of seems neat. And I've never done any sort of virtual reality kind of thing before though. But I've heard that they're good now though. So some of it's worthwhile, at least according to Carter. He said that some of it is the current things have been a lot better.
Really done it. For one thing, I live in a condo, so I've never really you can buy your home thing, but I like you have to have room, and you have to have like a really awesome computer to run like the games on it, so which was what kind of funny. Like so many people were like, just to bring up like games in virtual reality, is that Half-Life had a sequel, Alex, spelled with a Y, not an E. And it was virtual only, so you could, like, I can't play it, like, and that was the thing, is that some people were saying it was sexism that people weren't playing it because it was about Alex, who's a girl, and it's like, no, I'm pretty sure it's about the fact that it costs like $700 to get just the peripherals for virtual. I don't think it has anything to do with who the main character is.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you're sexist for this thing though, just because you can't if you buy this, you can't afford food, but
yeah, you like buy a $3,000 computer and then spend like $1,000 to get an Oculus and then buy the game. It is $60. Like, no, I think I'm good. Thanks. I can skip the watching, playing Alex ever. I'll watch it on YouTube. Sure, let's do
that. And then what else was there? Oh, Elon Musk. That was a thing too, where I thought that was just he's what is it? He had a son originally, and now the son is a daughter. Whatever it is, the Elon Musk's offspring is transgender and got stepped away from the family. Like I think like disowned Elon Musk as a father.
Is the kid an adult kid?
Let's see. Here's an article that I didn't read, but I just found.
Part of me was all like, "Are you gonna step away from that family when
we're stepping away
from his deathbed?" Like, what?
Yeah, like with that money and everything. So it says Elon Musk's daughter officially free of father's name, granted gender change. Okay, so it was a son originally, 18-year-old. Okay,
18.
So yeah, like why?
So she just gave up her rights
Yeah,
to
to
inherit.
billions of
That's what
dollars.
I just heard. That's what you told
Yeah.
me.
Elon, you can adopt me. I'll be your son if you want. Like,
I'll take her place. Well, we'll all take her place, Elon.
yeah,
We'll
yeah.
put us in your will. We're
Even
cool.
like
We're cool.
like 100th or 1,000th of what you would leave behind, I'll take
No
anything.
shit.
Jeez. Turned 18 in April, seeking the name and gender changes. The daughter is one of 5 children. Oh, so Elon has 4 other kids, so
Yeah.
be fine. Probably not a huge loss then. Yeah, so I don't have much more than that except like, yeah, you're stepping out from all of that money, like, or
I
maybe
mean,
there's already a problem too. Maybe
maybe
he was
he's not a great dad. I'm not gonna claim that
sure,
that's
yeah.
like out of the question here. Okay.
I could
I
totally
mean,
believe that.
I could too because he's a very busy, like involved in his business and all
And
his
he's
shit kind of
like
stuff. Like,
Aspergery and
yeah, like how good can he be at home as a dad? Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, but I'm not going to discount the idea that maybe he makes time and puts an effort
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
to be
saying
a
that
dad
I could
too.
see it either way. Like he could be like super great and fantastic, or maybe he's neglectful and just busy and he doesn't always
Yeah. Like
or
it could go
isn't as
either way.
emotionally
Like
there.
I have no idea. So I'm not going to like act like I know. But I do find it funny to go. I dislike my father, the richest man in the world, so much. I want nothing from him.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I could say that like there must be something. There's a lot of emotion there that like if you're willing to do that, then you must have some problems. So, um Winky Winky Woo, who also has been asking about Mystery Meat, and I'm unclear about what that's for. I have no idea. But then he also says, "Why you women need to shit on us men like this? Men are
We could go. He
terrible."
could go either way. Either way, we don't know.
Yeah, I'm not saying because he's a man. If Elon Musk was a woman and with the same personality and money and stuff too, I'd say the same thing. Like maybe she's a terrible mother because of the same
Yeah.
reasons.
I
Nothing
know
to
some
do with
famous women I don't necessarily would think I don't necessarily think would be great mothers, like Amber Heard.
yeah. Oh golly. Good thing she doesn't have kids.
Oh no, she's got a
Uh
baby.
oh, she does?
Yeah, she's got
Holy
a baby.
crap. I had no
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Oh, that poor thing. Is it
Yeah,
Johnny
really.
Depp's kid or someone
No.
else's?
She
Okay.
claims sperm donor, I think. But oh
So
also
she probably learned from it about where to poop and stuff, right? Mm.
maybe, yeah. But I Jay Jennifer Lopez's kid also came out as trans like in the
Yeah,
last week.
I'm sure all celebrity children, at least one.
Well then, was it Charlize Theron's daughter went back to being her daughter
Oh,
recently?
really?
Yeah. Oh
I
no no
don't
no.
keep up with
Was that
anyone's.
Oh God, so many celebrities and rich people have trans kids. Was
Yes,
it
yeah, of course they do.
because Charlize Theron does have a trans kid, but I think who I'm thinking of is Angelina Jolie,
Mm.
actually.
Oh, does she have one?
Yeah, she had a daughter who was acting who was saying they were trans and everything, and everyone was saying they were trans, and then now
I
she's
do.
wearing like dresses and stuff.
I don't know any like celebrities like that, but the only one that I am aware of is I think it's Colin Mockery, the comedian from Whose Line Is It Anyway? I think his biological son became a daughter at some point. And that's like the only one I know. But of course, there any celebrity and stuff like they're it's a trendy thing, so this is what the end thing is, and I'm sure that they're all woke parents, so they're going to be pushing for it, or it's like just at least in their faces at some point, so like they
Yeah.
if not them, then other people in the circles are going
Yep.
to be or influence it. So like yeah, I have no I think that like if you have at least four children though, and in the celebrity world, at least one of them is going to end up being trans.
Yeah, probably. The thing is though is that like I think that like to some extent when it comes to the famous women and their kids going their daughters especially going trans, I think the women are either the mothers are really taking part in pushing it. I do believe that. Or two, the daughter has seen just how sexualized her mother was and wants to reject that.
Yeah.
I could see it going like, or even just both pushing that forward. Because kids don't want to be like, 13-year-old girls don't really want to be sexualized. So like, they're like, I'm he, him, I'm they, them, just to like stop looking at my body, stop talking about my body, because they start young with like Hollywood Reporter and stuff talking about the celebrities' daughters and how sexy they are. It's disturbing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, okay, I can see that. I guess I can see it both ways then, if at least it's from female to boy.
Yeah.
But
We're
that like you're
non-binary.
yeah. Oh, that's what they all do. But you're doing it to maybe try and step away from attention that like Hollywood and everything is trying to push on you too. So I can see that as being a possibility, or that whatever it is, they're influenced by their surroundings big time. Like,
Yep, definitely.
and I feel terrible for those children who have to live in that environment. Yeah, and I think that's it for Elon Musk for me. What was there? Oh, there was the Stephen Colbert thing. I saw that where what's his name, called him a Karen. Right? I think you were the one who told me that. I can't remember his name right now. I'm tired. From Fox News, right?
Tucker Carlson. I was
Tucker
like,
Carlson.
what?
It's like
So
T.
who?
The guy. He's the lead of the thing and the part of the movie.
Doing it again.
So Tucker Carlson called Stephen Colbert a Karen, right? And then Stephen Colbert has been saying, I don't even remember what it was now that he was saying, like some complaining about whatever woke thing, but I just remember the Karen thing.
Yeah, but like for one, like Stephen Colbert's like staff like broke into the Capitol or something, and then
it was a J6.
Yeah, and Stephen Colbert also blamed them and like isn't really taking any kind of responsibility for his team, because he can't. That guy can't, like he can't stand on principle anymore. So it has to be all slippery and shit. So like when Tucker Carlson called him a Karen, I laughed because he's very entitled now and very like rules for me but not for rules for thee but not for me kind of attitude right now.
Yeah. Well, that's not surprising. I mean, that's why like I generally don't pay attention to like anything with like Hollywood. I just happen to see stuff on Twitter now and then when it's trending. And then I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And then, as you can tell, I do barely any research in it. I just see like the very, very shallow part of like, oh, this thing happened. Well, I'm bored. I'll mention this later. But yes, Stephen Colbert is doing woke nonsense and just being very authoritarian collectivist type of thing. So, same old going on there.
Yep.
But No Fun, No Hope also says Lauren Chen covered some bimbo stuff the other day. Apparently there's a rejection in the other direction, away from hardworking business lady who wears pantsuits. Let's see.
I think there's two types of like women. Yeah,
two types of women.
There was more to that thought, but I know who Cher is, and I know Chaz Bono. Don't worry, I know about Chaz Bono, so that one's not new to me. Chaz Bono was on Dancing on the Stars. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Chaz Bono is Sonny and Cher's daughter turned son.
Okay. And chose the name Jazz?
Yeah. And also was he I mean, he went trans like more like a while ago. Like this is long before like a lot of the transification of kids going on right now. Like because like I saw him on Dancing with the Stars like 10, 11 years ago
Mm.
as Chaz Bono. He'd already gone through like a lot of his transition by that point. So I was like, he like kind of predates a lot of this at this point. Like he's more on he's not quite as far back as Buck Angel, but he's pretty far back there. But it does bring, like, it is kind of evidence that his mother was a huge sex symbol, Cher, and then
Yeah.
complete
That's true.
rejection of femininity and female sexuality.
Okay, that makes sense to me though. Too. That again, the environment and wanting to push that away. I'm not saying that like that's the healthiest thing to have done, but I can understand kind
You
of
get
going in that
what's going on
direction.
psychologically there.
Yeah. So yeah, well, them's the breaks, I guess, right now in today's culture. So that's blackpilling me here. Chaz from Chastity. So okay, I guess if you're trying to choose a name that's sort of close, like maybe they called Chastity Chaz for short,
Maybe.
and then you just go to Chaz. On the other hand, you could choose like anything, and your name was Chastity too. So there's
That's not a
you have
great
the
name, by the
opportunity
way.
to just
Like, to
go.
me, that's a stripper name. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, like you could do anything else. So you're just gonna change your name. So,
Yeah.
and oh my gosh, hang on.
What?
Sorry, just heard. Oh, all right. Before we get to the last topic, have a new baby goose. I think it's new from last week. And she was just screaming for a second there, so I got scared. But my boyfriend was picking her up, but again, just have to be terrified that something might be trying to eat my animals. So
yeah, I get
but
it.
here's a bad picture because she moves around so much. So if anyone knows the show Adventure Time, I had the first goose I got. He was yellow and he looked similar to the character Lemon Grab on that show. And then so I named him Lemon Grab, and then we got a second one because he was lonely, and much like the character of that in that show, they cloning like Jurassic World. They cloned him and called him Lemon Grab too. So when we got the second goose, I'm like, wow, this is coincidental. So we called her Lemon Grab 2 and call her Tui for short. And then there were a bunch of they kept cloning themselves. And at the end of it, there was one lemon creature that they called that was going to like save all of the lemon people in the show, and then called him Lemon Hope. So this is what we've named. What I've chosen for this goose's name is Lemon, because we already had a theme. So all the geese are named after lemon grabs.
Someone has asked for your email address.
Yeah. For Reaper stuff, that is you can do Beverly at unsafespace.com or speak at everything goes to me. So I'll type that in chat. I can't spell unsafe space. Beverly at unsafespace.com. Yes. Okay. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, we were doing a little true crime podcast type of stuff because I recently got a letter. I have a pen pal in a prison pen pal in Texas who I learned about from a true crime podcast like years ago, because I haven't even been listening to to any true crime stuff in years, called Truth and Justice. And his name's the guy in there is Kenny Snow, and I believe he was wrongfully convicted and sentenced to 40 years in prison for not even murder. It was just like an aggravated robbery. And again, I don't think he committed it. And there's like evidence that the podcast that did like that surfaced, it just wasn't enough stuff, but like that made it seem like, yeah, this definitely does not seem like he committed the crime. But anyway, he was up for parole, and after 20 years in prison, he was up for parole and he got it. So like he was writing to me and saying that he had gotten it, but we weren't sure what the date would actually be, because he said it was like 45 days from the start of something or another. And I think, let me see what it is, after July 26th is when he should be getting out, and he's going back up to Ohio to be with his wife. And so I've just been very excited for him about that. And yeah, I just can't imagine being in there for like 20 years and just not much that could have been helpful to him in that. And I know, like, so the other topic that we're going to talk about too, a true crime, is that it's kind of current news.
The true crime podcast kerfuffle.
Yeah, because of, and it makes sense to me that people's lives get kind of upended by like people being harassed with the podcasting. But so I'll say first before we get into that, just on the flip side of it, is that sometimes I think it can be helpful though, like at least if when people are willing, because the podcast I listened to, like the guy actually was able, he got he proved a guy innocent and of murder and got him free. And so I just think that that is incredible, that like at least sometimes like things can be positive from it, and you can help people. So but why it's a hot topic right now is because people are upset and are being because they're being harassed by
Yeah,
true
it's a
crime
lot
stuff.
so like family members of murder victims are complaining to some extent. Yeah, this is kind of a joke. Me in my grave due to my murder, my parents devastated by the untimely loss of their only child. True crime podcast. Hey girlies. Because here's the thing is that okay, the number one consumer of true crime of any medium is women. 100% it's
Yeah. Oh
women.
yeah.
Like most of the time the people watching that is women, and there are a couple of them where they're like putting on makeup while they're doing it. There's a couple of true crime podcasts that are comedy podcasts.
Oh,
And
wait, so like so the people that are running the podcasts
are like
doing the
yeah, they're like putting on their makeup while they're explaining the murder.
Oh.
And then or like they're doing a
Wait,
bunch of jokes about the murder.
sorry, can I get a clarification
Yeah.
on something? You're saying that the people who do the true crime podcasts are majority women, like who run them? Because I know that
No,
like
no,
they're
no, the
the
viewers, the
viewers. Okay.
consumers
Okay. And these just
of
happen to
true
be
crime.
women who are running podcasts who are taking it very like there's a lot of
Not seriously.
levity in this.
Lots of levity, not a lot of like it's serious. It's serious. People died. This is not fiction. Like
Yeah.
I have no problem making a bunch of jokes about fiction. Like, but the problem is that true crime podcasters who like I won't say that like we should shut them up, but the problem is that they have no like it's depraved. They have like no sense of humanity about the fact that these were real people, which is kind of gross.
I'll try. Okay, let me think about this for a second to have my opinion, just figure out my opinion. I would say as from the comedy side of things, I don't think anything is off topic for making jokes, and so that's why like I'm fine, and I think that happens with like like Holocaust jokes or whatever, dead baby jokes, and most dead baby stuff are fictional though too, but like Holocaust happened, and then you can make jokes of those. So I don't even mind if I don't think it's I don't think I disagree too much that where it's if someone is just going over something that happened that in real life, like here's terrible things that happened, and I'm kind of making light and making jokes of it. I'm not fully against that. I do think it. But I think you could also consider though, like if that there could be repercussions though, like that there might be consequences to what you say. Like if the people that you're talking about come across this and get upset, like that might happen too. But I don't think I'm not someone who'd be like, oh yeah, we shouldn't let them
Yeah,
make
I'm
these
not
jokes.
saying that. I'm
Right,
not
right.
saying that either. I'm saying I think it's in poor taste that like
Ye-
that my opinion is I don't find it funny.
Right,
Like,
right, yeah. So that's
but
fine,
I'm not saying shut it down. That's
and I don't, and until I
worlds
like
away.
hear the
Yeah.
jokes, then I'm like, maybe I would find it funny. Maybe if they did it well, like I think that like, yeah, like maybe it's like, ooh, this is like a kind of too soon thing, but that was really funny or whatever. So sorry. And I'm just trying to think out loud of like what my opinion is
And
here in the
I
moment.
no, I get it. And also I would totally like wouldn't have a problem like if someone did like, oh, the Lindenberg baby, and they made a bunch of jokes about
Hmm.
that. Like no one who was around then was like really alive anymore. So
It's
I'm like,
easier when it's like, yeah, if it's some that no one's around. But again, too, it's like even stuff that happens now, like if you're you're a public figure in some way that because of like there's knowledge about what happened, you can make jokes. I think maybe it gets a step into it when you're going after like family members, if you're commenting on people who aren't trying to be in the public about that, and you make so I think that's where I have more of a line.
Some of the family members are like, why don't you just not use real names? Like,
yeah, if the point yeah, especially if it's not maybe it's a difference when it's just like, okay, like this is super well known.
yeah.
And like this is a very famous case, and so you can reference that. But like ones that are like that aren't, then and the real people don't really matter though, and to make the point of your joke, then yeah, like you can just change names.
Well, even the serious ones are running into a problem where viewers are contacting the family, like even knocking on their doors. Like,
See, yeah, and that's, I mean, in
that's
any
a
genre of
problem.
anything, like, yeah, like don't go and harass people like that. Again, well, the internet is crazy, like, so there are always
Yeah, I
crazy
know,
people
there's
there, but
crazy
so
people.
you shouldn't have to tell people, don't go to other people's homes, but like this does happen. I know that John Del
But I
Rose, like we were
guess
going over someone on like that flew to meet someone that he knew on the internet, and but then like so it was just like, yeah, like that's a crazy thing to do when you're surprising someone across country or across the world or whatever, though, like.
I think that's why though some of them are asking for not real names, because of the fact that it's like they didn't choose to be public figures. Like you and I, we're on this podcast by choice. No one's forcing us to do this. Those
Well,
family members,
that we know of.
those like we're not saying any names, but those family members, they just someone died like in their family. Like it's not really their choice to be thrust into the public
Mhm.
sphere. So saying that they're fair game to me, like because there is kind of a thing where you're not supposed to talk about private individuals, like and reveal information about them and stuff like that. Like you don't really have there's a big gray area there on journalism and stuff.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm sort of like, if someone is a victim of a crime or a family member is a victim of a crime, I don't necessarily consider them a public figure. Like I'm like, I don't really think that makes that the fact that they had the poor luck to have a family member
Right.
be murdered makes them
Yeah.
a public figure, you
Yeah, I'd
know?
say the criminal is fair game then, I think, or we're like,
Yeah.
okay, you chose to do whatever, but
Yes.
then and then where it gets more gray area for me is the victim. So then like if it's uh, it depends on like the person who's making the joke or like talking about whatever, and the situation. So that's why I don't think I have any like, here's my rule on what I am okay
Yeah.
with or not. And I think I'd have to watch some of these too to see. And I'm guessing though too that like most of them are probably bad. Like if you're someone who's like just doing your makeup while talking about like terrible situations though, like but I guess it also depends on like what the context is. um
Yeah. Like I said, I'm totally like not saying shut it down, because
Right, yeah.
I'm
You're
not
very
that kind of
anti-censorship.
person. I'm not that person. But that doesn't mean I have to like it,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
not say that I think it's
Well,
maybe a little
and
immoral.
people get and people don't understand that either, because like the ones who wanna claim, like, "What about free speech? And what about, like, oh, you don't like censorship?" And like, well, just because you say that, like, you should be allowed to say these things doesn't mean that I have to like it, and that I can't talk about how I dislike it. Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna let
exactly.
you do this thing, but I can complain about it too. Like,
Yeah.
and that's
It's
okay
also
because we
my
both
free.
have, like, the right to say.
Yeah, we both have a free speech to say this, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like I can tell you, like, I think true crime podcasts are a little immoral. Nothing stopping me from saying
Right,
it.
yeah. And, so that's why, like, I get it for, like, there are people who don't want it to who don't want this, like, public, or, like, they wanna just, have their private lives, but I do still, like, I'm fascinated by a lot of it too, though, because what happened for me is that it really opened my eyes up to the justice system and how unjust the injustice system, how unjust the
Yeah,
justice system
really.
is, because I didn't realize about how, like, I never really thought about how much, like, oh yeah, like these people might not have done it, or people in situations. My big thing is, like, prosecutors, they get promoted by cases that they win. Like, it shouldn't be about winning, like, putting the defendant in prison or whatever. It should be, let's find out the truth, and if this person actually did it, they should be punished, and if they did not do it, they should go free. Like, and the prosecutor should not be in trouble for whether he quote unquote wins or loses the cases.
Nope.
um and so, like, that, like I said, like, the system is terrible to me. Like, I don't like any, but then I'm like, oh, I'm going to become a judge, I'm going to get promoted, and it's like,
Yep.
this matters. And so I really dislike the justice system.
I'm not. There's so many instances. Like, for one thing, when it comes to defense lawyers and including public defenders, any defense attorney that tells a um, uh, a client a defendant who is 100% claiming their innocence should never ever, like, counsel them to take a plea deal, ever. If they do that, they are taking part in a miscarriage of justice.
Yes, yeah.
Because that's the thing, is that once you take a plea deal, you are forever branded as guilty. Like,
You're guilty.
and like it, which means if you are then later proven innocent with new evidence, you have no legal recourse against the state. So never, ever, ever, like,
But
take a
you
plea
have
deal if you're innocent.
But then you have, like, a shorter, like, oh, but you're only in prison for 5 or 10
I
years
know.
compared to 20 or more, when if you say you're innocent, but then you're like, but I am innocent. uh, and I know people too who who have been convicted and who claim that they were wrongfully convicted, but then and just, like, the system did not work in their favor, and, like, the evidence problem. And uh but then they stood by, like, like, the truth is all I have, though. Like, I'm going to keep trying to say that I'm innocent. And then I know that from other true crime podcasts and stuff too, where it's just like, this is all I have. Like, and if people don't believe me, though, like, but this is important to me to keep claiming my innocence.
I think I've only really, really listened to one true crime podcast, the one about,
Was
what
it the
is his
famous
name?
one, Serial, of Adnan Syed? Or is it
Yes.
okay?
Yes,
that
that
Yeah.
one. That's the only one I've ever listened to.
That was I think that's how I first listened to it. And then the Truth and Justice was because I think the guy listened to that, and then he wanted more information. Like, so he got into it himself. He was like a firefighter. He was like in charge of his fire department and stuff. But then he got into it, and he just started investigating. And that's what, like, then he started, like, looking into other ones and helping solve crimes. So, which sounds like it could be its own TV show.
Yeah,
Actually.
it does. He sounds like, oh, let's make a new TV show. Yeah. That's coming next, right? In the
Yeah.
format of,
Oh, they
like,
already have
cop
that.
counselor. Like,
Yeah,
there's
they already
gonna be
have,
the
like,
podcast one.
podcasting and everything, though, too. They do,
Yeah.
like, like, the only murders in the building. They, like, make fun with the podcast, but, like, yeah, they're all over.
Well, then, like, there podcast, like, movie trailer we went over, Vengeance, where he's all like, I'm gonna make a podcast
Yeah.
about this. Yeah.
But yeah, with Serial, with Adnan Syed, like, yeah, that was my first thing where I was just, it bothers me, and he's not the only. The same thing happened with the person that I know too, of the potentially wrongfully convicted thing, where it's just where they're saying that, like, both that Adnan Syed was, he's a really smart guy. He's like 17, 18 years old, and in high school, but he's like this really intelligent guy. So he was able to plan all these things out. And then at the same time, they would also say he was just a dumb kid. So that's why he made these other mistakes here. And that's why. And I'm like, well, you can't, how are you using both? And they would just use, but like to kind of brush other information, like, under the rug, because it's like, well, like, that's why he did that, because he was just dumb and didn't think about this. Like, but he was so smart that he was manipulative and could plan out this entire. And so that was really upsetting for me, that I'm like, well, I have suspicions about this. And there are just, like, multiple things about that.
I don't always trust prosecutors to be honest. Like, they they want to close a case. Case closure looks good for them. And my problem with that is that it's not justice. I don't give a shit if you close your cases at all. Find the actual person who did this. That's what I want you to do. I don't want you to close the case necessarily. Like, if it takes you 30 years to figure out who the fuck did this, fine. I'm fine with that. But what I'm not fine with is you going, we closed the case within a year, and it be wrong. So the whole time 30 years is going by and you're not looking for the actual person who did it.
Right.
Like, that's my problem.
And they could be committing the similar crimes elsewhere.
Exactly. It's not for the public safety for them to do that. Like, that is the real thing. Like, first of all, it's a miscarriage of justice. An innocent person is in prison, and the real person who did it is not being punished for doing so. But it's also bad for the public because the public is with the actual killer or rapist or whatever. They're out there free to do more crime. This is dangerous, and it does piss me off. It pisses me off to no end that they're just like, well, no, we just want to close the case. Like, it's so lazy.
Yes.
Sorry, it's someone's feeding time.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, we can wrap up here in a minute, but so that's what, like, I guess, like while I do understand the concept of true crime podcasts being upsetting to like the victims of families or the victims themselves, I do think sometimes they can be helpful in like solving the crimes that the people who are supposed to be the ones doing it screw up, and so that they need someone else to like fix their problems. Yes. So and again too, like just because I like mysteries and stuff too, so like but I also try to think like I don't take it as light. Obviously, like I felt bad for this guy, and I wrote to him, and I wrote to Adnan Syed too. I also reached out to him. I never heard back, but like I wrote because it was just like something that I'm like, man, like this, like I feel for you emotionally. But like while it's less about entertainment value and more about like unlearning and like understanding like this is real stuff that happened.
There's a difference between people who watch it and treat it like fiction. Like, they're watching a soap opera, and those like you who watch it and go, these are real people and this is terrible. Like, there's a difference there. And the problem is that there's a bunch of people who are seeing it as entertainment only and forgetting the fact that these are real human beings involved.
Right.
So then they go to their homes like fucking psychos, like they're going, like they found a celebrity, and it's like, that's not what's going on here. You need to leave these people alone. Like, you're crazy. And it's like, it's an unhealthy. I'm not saying that true crime people need to control their audiences. That's not how that works. You can't control your audience. That is not what, you're never actually responsible for what an adult chooses to do after listening to you. That is not like never an argument I'm ever going to make. But those people need help. I don't know what kind of help they need, but they clearly need something because they're not in touch with reality. That's the real problem.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, and it's the same thing with anything, the shooters and stuff too, where it's like they're people, the crime that they do or how they go about doing something bad though, like is less important than like, hey, something is wrong with this person and we can figure out how do we help society with because of these individuals, like what's causing it. And we don't look into that enough.
No, I agree.
but yeah, I don't know. I'm all worked up about this justice system thing. And again, with just like I feel bad for the people who are harassed. Like my thing too, as far as true crime goes, I'm more. Well, I do find we had what was class was like a criminal justice class in high school. So then we learned more about serial killers. Like, wow, it's interesting to me. Like what I got more passionate about was the wrongful conviction side of true crime though, because it really upset me to learn that like how often is this happening, and why the justice system is a problem. So like that's what really got to me, rather than just the fact that like these terrible things happen to people.
Yeah, you're not like watching a car wreck. That's not your intent there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and then there's there's two ways that I find miscarriages of justice in our system right now that are really serious. One is this wrongful convictions, and the other one is how we handle actually mentally ill people. Like, they put them away for life, even if their crime wouldn't have put them away for life. If you're declared insane and cannot stand trial, you are never, ever being free. Ever.
Right.
You will be in an asylum for the rest of your natural life. It is disturbing to me that that is the response to mental health problems. Like, some of them are actually something that could be managed. And no, there are some that these people should probably be put away forever, or I am a proponent of capital punishment, killed. So to me, I'm sort of like, there's no reason why someone should be like that. It should be flat out everyone we declare insane and unable to stand trial should be in an asylum for the rest of their life. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, the same. I'll to address the capital punishment thing too. I used to be okay with it, and then I haven't thought about it in a while, but then I stopped being okay with it because of the wrongful conviction thing. So now, if my thing is, if we know, like, if there's like absolute evidence that like there's video of it, like, that this person, like, there's no
my burden of proof for capital punishment is much higher than my burden of proof for any other punishment. Like, I will agree with that. Like, it has to be like fucking perfect.
Right. Yeah. Like, there's no doubt at all. And which should be for trials too. Like, it's supposed to be beyond a shadow of a doubt before you find someone guilty, but they don't. That's why I'm always terrified. I'm like, if I have to be judged by a jury of my peers, I'm like, my peers are idiots. I do not want them judging me. But for capital punishment, like, yeah, like, there needs to be video that they, not even just that they admitted to it either, because like sometimes like they are coaxed into admitting crimes that they didn't commit. So then, but there needs to be like certain, like, absolute certainty, and then I'd be like, okay, yes, or the biggest thing is you are in the act of committing the murder or attempting to. I'm okay. You ending your life then.
Yes. To me, if it's like, if you caught them in the act, would you have shot them? Like, then probably capital punishment's okay.
Yeah. So, but then it's just also like, am I just taking the word of the people who were there though too, and that makes it iffy? Like, we're so
yeah, I know it's hard.
But if there's body cam footage, like, that's helpful. And but yeah, so that's where I've been on a very ideal world. In an ideal world, like, I'm okay with that concept, but because of humans being flawed, it makes me nervous.
You see, it's the thing is that, like, I've heard so many different arguments against capital punishment, and the only one that I think makes any kind of sense is, what if we're wrong?
Yeah.
That's the only one that it's like, yeah, totally. That's a reasonable question. We need to ask that question. I'm not like, I believe in it, but I'm not saying we avoid the question and we just kill people like that. I'm not okay with that.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
So to me, that question, very important question. What if we're wrong?
Yeah. Well, I can talk way more about true crime and justice system, but we can save that for another day, since it is feeding time and it's getting dark out, so I have to put animals away before they get eaten. So
yeah, it's feeding time, and it's almost time for me to live stream.
Oh, right. Yes, you're streaming. Today's Thursday, so it's not the Friday fright night. What do you call them?
Friday.
Friday.
It's or Fright Night Friday. But today's usually supposed to be Throwback Thursday, but I've been struggling so hard with KOTOR still. I've like not gone back in there. So tonight I'm playing Anthem for the first time.
Winky Woo's telling us, no, talk more, you sluts. Well, you get to hear Alex talk more if you want to watch her stream.
Yep.
Throwback Thursday, Friday, wow, what?
Fright Night Friday.
Yeah, because of like amusement parks have like the Halloween, like where they do like and the movies. What is it, like Fright Night or Fright Fests and stuff too? So then like, I gets in my head and I don't know.
Oh, Tenomad, Fright freight,
Freight.
night.
Yeah, he
I
gets
had to
it.
slow down to say that.
You're so funny. Say words, you filthy moose cunts. Yeah, all right. Well, speaking of which, thank you for joining us, all you cunts. Johnny Boy Quick Draw, if you're still there, that's for you. My favorite cunt of them all. I'll probably go watch some more of The Boys too and hear Billy Butcher say it. Once I'm finished with that, then we'll also talk about get more in depth with The Boys, because I was definitely working through it slowly. We're in season 2 now, but yeah. Oh, Johnny Boy is still here. Get a smiley emoji. Oh yeah, No Fun No Hope says go watch Fright Night. Okay, well, I think that's it for me. If Alex, anything else that you need to blather on about?
No.
Well, thank you guys for joining us again. What do we have? I don't know. It's Thursday at the end of the week. You know the drill. If you check out the shows next week, I think we've had them on. We have a schedule on the
the About page has the schedule name now.
I think. Right. It's on the YouTube one, About page, not just, I was worried when Carter talked about how he put on the About page, and I was like, are you only doing it on the unsafespace.com website, or did you put it on YouTube? I told him
to put it on both when I was telling him.
I was worried that he was only going to do it on the website, and I was like, no one goes there right now. I know you keep wanting it, but it's just not happening. So, like...
You go to our website.
Yeah. Just for Carter's sake, go to our website, because he's...
Yeah, it'll make him happy. Because it'll make those numbers go up. It'll make him happy.
Winky Winky Woo. I still don't know what you were talking about with the meat. What was it? Are you saying meat party? I don't remember. It was something about meat. Mystery meat. That's what it was. I don't know what you're talking about that. As Tree Surgeon still needs to finish The Boys as well. So yeah, so you have time. I need to do that, and I need to rewatch Stranger Things, all of it, before, because the last couple episodes are coming out soon, right? At the beginning of July. So I need to go through and watch that. Busy plate. We got Lightyear, got Stranger Things, The Boys.
I need to remember to watch Lightyear.
This is how you do. This is what Lightyear is. All right. Well, thank you guys. I need to find the end credits. Thank you, Alex, as always. It has been a pleasure.
Don't say that so creepy, by the way.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, have a great night. Go follow Alex. Go watch her, Alex of All Trades on YouTube. And I've got to go put some baby animals away. Again, donate to Unsafe Space, and it helps a baby duck try to learn to walk. Probably going to get that wheelchair. All right, have a good night, everyone. Bye, Alex. Bye, Alex.
Thanks for sticking around until the end. If you're new to Unsafe Space, check out our deep content library that includes discussions with everyone from James Lindsay to Brett Weinstein. And please consider helping to fund our work by visiting unsafespace.com/donate. You can find us on a variety of social media platforms, and you can find a community of like-minded individuals on our Unsafe Space Discord server, which is open to financial supporters at any level. We hope to see you there.
Warning. This is an unsafe space. Dangerous ideas have been detected. The content of this production does not meet WHO health and safety standards. Please report to a United Nations Sanitization Center immediately. Association with the following individuals is strictly prohibited. Experts who benefit from printing money agree that printing money does not cause price inflation. Trust me, just 2 more weeks to slow the spread of monkeypox. If you think about it, no one should be allowed to express opinions. But don't. Think about it, that's not your job. Thinking has been scientifically proven to be less efficient than compliance. Science, scientific, and scientifically are registered trademarks of the World Economic Forum. Unauthorized use is prohibited. Computer voice courtesy. Never mind, that last line is fake news. Please disregard it and return to your safe space immediately. There will be cake.